Hi, my name is Tara Chisholm, and I'm the head coach of the women's national para hockey team. For me, sport came from my family, 100%. My mom was into sports when it wasn't so popular for girls and women to be a part of sports in the 70s and 80s, so I felt very fortunate to grow up seeing my mom as a role model, and then of course, having siblings, you just have to keep up with them. So I had some brothers that I got to play sports with, which led me down the path of hockey and baseball. So for me, I grew up playing every type of sport. I was a multi-sport athlete my whole life. My parents really believed in just teaching us a wide variety of fundamental movement skills, essentially. So for me, when we got older and got into more competitive sport, I started to take a look at coaching, and that's where I found parasport. So sledge hockey was the first parasport that I came across. It was on the Paralympic Sports Association website out of Edmonton. It was a local nonprofit, and they were looking for somebody who could skate. And I checked that box. So for me, that's where I started. Challenges that we face in parasport are really intertwined because of the intersectionality of our athletes. So yes, I have disabled athletes, but they're also women, they're also non-binary, they're people of color, they're Indigenous, they're queer. So the barriers that my athletes face are not just coming from one lens. And so I think for me as a coach, that's where I really had to learn about the privilege that I grew up with as a white, settler, cisgender woman. And one of the biggest things in parasports is something that not a lot of people know the name of, but it's called ableism. So when I speak about ableism, it can show up in a variety of different ways. One example that some of my athletes with disabilities face are physical inaccessibility within the spaces that we enter. So everybody just wants to play sports, but if you physically cannot enter into the building because the door is not accessible, the push button is broke, my athletes who want to train just like every other athlete that's planning to go to the rink that day, they can't because they have to deal with something that wasn't created by them. I started coaching hockey when I was 14 years old, and I was always second-guessed on my knowledge, on if I really deserved to be behind the bench or be the one instructing drills on the ice. So for me, I was really fortunate that I had some really strong allies that came to my side and just kept encouraging me. They told me, don't stop. What you're doing is really important. And with that, I just kept going. It's been really full circle because I just had one of my young women with a disability who wants to go into coaching. She was a former athlete of mine, and she's just getting into it now, and she just went through the same thing that I did. One of my favorite moments that I've had in my coaching career is actually when I've been able to travel abroad and be a guest coach on an international scale. And so for me, it's really been exciting to see people who never even knew what hockey was, never mind sledge hockey or para hockey, and they get on the ice and then they become an athlete. And so just seeing those nations grow across the world and seeing more and more women with disabilities play in the sport that I love has been so rewarding. Making sport more inclusive means putting the power in the hands of those that have been historically excluded from sport. I don't think it will change unless we have the next generation of diverse individuals with multiple identities being at the forefront, being at the decision-making table. So it's not just a select few that get to experience the power of sport, but every Canadian. So right now, within women's para hockey globally, the women that play don't necessarily have an opportunity to go to the Paralympics unless they are able to make a men's team or what's actually considered in paper a mixed team. We've only ever seen 3 women internationally make their men's or mixed team and go to the Paralympic Games. So that's what myself and my athletes and nations around the world are doing so that just like the Olympic Games has a women's and a men's tournament in it, we want to see the same thing for women's para hockey, where we have women showcasing the best of the best with the women's game and the men showcasing the best of the best with the men's game. One piece of advice that I would tell my younger self is to not copy my role models exactly. Take the lessons that they've learned and apply them along your pathway, but you are going to forge your own path. You might not even know it exists yet. So don't be a direct copy. You've got your own path ahead. For me, grit means a relentless pursuit of your goals. It means digging in your heels hard and doing whatever you can to achieve the goals that you want. One tip that I would have for athletes to be their authentic selves is to come exactly as you are. And if you don't feel safe and welcomed, talk to someone you trust. I encourage you to keep going. Don't stop playing sport. It's something that you love. And if sport is going to get better, we need you in it. So one thing that I have found out about sport that I wish I knew when I was younger is that sport was actually designed by men for men. So when it feels like you don't fit in, it's because we were never designed to be there. And so it's important that you are there now and that we stay there, because women and girls are going to redesign sport so that everybody fits. My favorite candy is 5-cent candies, sour soothers to be exact. If they sit in a concession stand at the rink and they're a little bit stale and chewy, even better. My favorite hobby outside of sport is art. I love to paint. My favorite musical artist, being from small town Alberta, has to be a country musician, and it's Shania Twain. My favorite movie is Wonder Woman because it has a strong woman as a lead. My favorite thing about Medicine Hat, Alberta is our access to walking trails. We have over 100 kilometers of paved walking trails, which is really amazing because we can take our hand cycles all over the city and it allows people to be active together.